Hundreds of high-level church officials and European political leaders are meeting at the Vatican to reflect on the challenges the European Union faces.
Number of believers goes up continually. But that, of course, brings with it great responsibility for believers. And therefore, I think we do have to take that responsibility very seriously.
Speaking to journalists earlier today in Rome, Archbishop Paul Gallagher, the Vatican's Secretary for Relations with States, emphasized the importance of the Church's contribution to helping Europe face its challenges. Juliet Lindley is EWTN News Nightly's Vatican correspondent. She joins us now for more on this from Rome. Juliet, what are the main challenges the European Union currently faces?
Wyatt, it's been 60 years since the Treaty of Rome was signed, a treaty that created the precursor community to what is today the European Union. And with that treaty came peace and stability, growth and progress within the European countries. And it brought prosperity to post-war Europe. But today, 60 years on, as Cardinal Reinhard Marx told journalists today, the European Union is facing serious problems, and they range from climate change to nationalism to high youth unemployment and, of course, the migrant and refugee crisis. So the Church would like to play a role in creating a dialogue to help to face up to these challenges.
Sure. Well, dialogue is important, but how much of a role do you think the Catholic Church can play in helping overcome all of those challenges?
Well, you know, until recently, many skeptics were saying that with the increased secularization of Europe, that religion would almost cease to play a role in the European Union. Now, that couldn't be further from the truth. As Archbishop Gallagher said today, the world is an increasingly religious place, and Europe too, and the Church can help perhaps to create dialogue, to reinvigorate the continent, to reinvigorate the European Union. And even as Cardinal Marx said, the Church has a big role to play in terms of peace and dialogue with Islam, dialogue with other religions, as well as dialogue within the European countries.
Sure, it's so important. So just to clarify now, the Vatican is in Europe, but technically it's not a member of the EU. So where does that put the Holy See in terms of relations with European institutions and the member states?
Yes, the Vatican is not within the European Union, but the Pope has always taken a keen interest in European issues as the continent now seeks to reinvigorate itself, as the European Union seeks to reinvigorate itself, I should say. This conference that is taking place today and tomorrow is hoping that the Pope will help to encourage dialogue and to help different parties look to the future while still acknowledging and while still taking advantage of the richness of Europeans' past.
Sure, and with so many important issues like immigration and secularization, it's so important that the Church continues to engage. Juliet Lindley, EWTN News Nightly Vatican correspondent, thanks so much.
Thank you, Wyatt.